20.
Go for it. Oh, people are going to see my hair. Oh, no.
It is a sports hangover. That's Mike. I'm J Dawg, and Mike is laughing because he wears a hat every time we do the show, and he's been making fun of my bald head for the last few months. But it turns out Mike has a Bob Ross afro growing out of the top of his head.
Yeah, it's quarantine. It's been over 5 months now. Haven't got a haircut since the wedding in Tulum that we went to.
Wow.
So it's been a while. A lot of things have changed. You went bald, and I started growing a little Jufro on top of my head. So
and I don't know what's worse, just to be clear. Like I'm rocking my look. I feel good about it. And you debuted yours today, and it's curly. And I wasn't expecting curly. It's coming out the top. You have a headband on, which seems very appropriate. It's a little bit like what LeBron does with his receding hairline, tries to cover it up with the headband.
It is not good. Like if you're watching those games and you see LeBron's hairline, you understand like he is not able to get to his boy to clean up his hairline because it's going right down the middle. I think was that how yours was going? Because his is going way back. I felt like yours was only in the front.
Mine was just in the front and the back, so I had like two holes. His is more of a one continuous
it's like a river
action. Yeah, it's a river flowing through. And it's amazing. He has so much money and so many resources, but he can't get his one barber in the bubble. That's how locked down it is.
How long did you go before you decided to shave it? And like when does LeBron do that? Because you and LeBron almost the same age, right?
Yeah, and we're both very accomplished for our age. That's a great point.
Yeah.
Wow, I've never felt so insignificant in my life. Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, I knew for a long time that this was going to happen. I just didn't have the resources to do anything about it. But I'm glad you're talking LeBron because I think it's time for one of our favorite drops. It's playoff time.
NBA news.
Mike, the NBA playoffs are happening. We are big NBA people.
Big NBA people here.
So it's all happening down the road for me in Orlando. I'm not allowed to go in to cut LeBron's hair or watch the basketball games, even though it's right across the street. They do test me for COVID once a week, which is great.
Once a week?
Yeah, why not? Okay. I wanted to mention. I'm gonna hop it. I wanted to mention that we have some brackets that we filled out. A little friend group did the NBA brackets. NBA.com is full of bullshit, and they have their brackets locking in April. They're not really updated. I do want to ask you, though, who you picked to win in your bracket, because if you remember before the season started, we made a wager on who's going to win the NBA Finals, and I know COVID happened. Yes, we did. I'm going to remind you of it here. I want to make sure you took the team who you said you were going to take. So who did you take?
God. Well, in the bracket, listen, I did it within probably, I don't know, a minute. I just went through and clicked. I had the Lakers winning it all.
Okay, good.
It's a dumb move though, because what they're doing right now is not very good. What bracket are you talking about? I don't remember.
Mike, it was a long time ago, like over a year ago when the NBA offseason occurred. But when we found out Kawhi was going to the Clippers, I claimed the Clippers as my LA team. Okay. You claimed LeBron and Anthony Davis as your LA team, and we made a wager. If the Lakers win, you win. If the Clippers win, I win. And I'm going to see you in a few weeks. So I don't remember exactly what we bet on, but this wager will be paid. We might have like an outside dinner that you take care of for me.
No. I have a lot of I think I have Super Bowl bets to claim here. I feel like we haven't really paid up lately.
Wait, what? Pull out your list. What do you got?
I don't even know.
Super Bowl. What? I take Patrick Mahomes. I mean, that's a no-brainer.
I got to go back. I think didn't I take Kansas City this year to win?
No, I would always take Kansas City. You know that.
I'm
pretty sure I won that one too. No, if I trade, I would always trade for Kansas City. That's what I did the year before, and I lost out. You had the Patriots. But tell me about your confidence in the Lakers right now, and then I'll explain my confidence in Kawhi.
Well, not good, because when I wrote down, I wrote a little rundown, and it was the day after the Lakers lost, and I thought we were going to play a little bullshit or believe, and this is what I wrote in my bullshit or believe little segment. It says, will the Lakers make it out of the first round? That's how confident I was feeling the day after. Okay. And then it said, if they don't, will this hurt LeBron's legacy? Those are my two things coming out of that game.
To answer your questions, yes, I'm confident they will prevail over the Blazers. Damian Lillard is really good, and they won game 1. The Lakers won game 2, so everything's fine. The second answer to that is What was your question?
It was
Mike just took off his headband. Is really distracting.
I know you're really watching my hairline here. If they don't, will this hurt LeBron's legacy?
Yes, and so to that I would say that is some bullshit. That anyone's legacy could be riding on COVID rules. Okay, in any sports this year, all legacies are out the window. No one's legacy will be defined one way or another for positive or negative for what's happening during COVID. LeBron can't go see his barber. How can you have confidence to play on a national stage when your hairline looks like that? So how could you judge his legacy? Just like anyone in any NBA bubble or MLB city, whatever's going on right now, you can't judge people for it.
Why is he trying to fool us too? Because that's what I'm like, we get it. You're losing your hair. Just shave your head. You probably look badass with a shaved head.
Like, easy for you to say with an afro. I was combing my shit over for 6 years. When I shaved my head, Mike's like, whoa, it was really gone. Yeah, it really was. I was fooling you guys too.
You were fooling us. It's weird because what is going on now in the bubble, I feel like will matter a lot next year. Like after all this, there's a lot of drama right now with the Lakers. Like I feel like there's like an internal struggle. This is a team. I don't know if you watched the game last night at all.
A little bit. Yeah.
So today's Friday. I was watching some of the game. They were up by 30 points. They like blew them out. Everybody was LeBron was sitting on the bench with iced knees, like getting ready for the next game. They had the D squad out there. They were bad. They were really, really bad. This is not a team that's going to go the distance because of their depth. This is a team that needs the win because of LeBron and Anthony Davis, not because of the D squad.
Which I think is okay when they all just had several months off. They're back for 8 games, and now the playoffs start. This should be the most rested LeBron's had in a playoff run since he was very young in Cleveland, even before he went to Miami. So I have no problem with the Superstar League. I have great confidence in the Clippers still. I know they lost a game to the Mavs, but they won their first game, so it's also 1-1 there. I think Kawhi and the Clippers are going to be fine. And I stand by our expensive dinner. Maybe we'll go to Italy. Is that one of your favorite restaurants?
Jeremy, I don't want to disappoint you, but when you come out here, not a lot open. Not a lot of things
we'll get to
going
go. We'll get to go, Mike.
To go.
You can buy the wine too.
I've been having a lot of trouble watching sports because there's so much of it. Like yesterday at 10 o'clock in the morning, there was hockey on. And it doesn't stop until 10 o'clock at night.
We've come so far from April, May, June. Those were dark days with no sports, and now we're being flooded and football hasn't even started. God bless football for trying to start. And if it happens and we get that added to the mix, this is going to be epic.
Have you watched any of the Hard Knocks?
No, I haven't.
None at all?
None. Is it good? There's no preseason games. Does that take away from it?
Well, it was weird this year because they were doing 2 teams. They did the Chargers and the Rams.
Yeah.
Not really like exciting. Like they're at Jared Goff's house and he's hitting golf balls into his backyard because he has a really big backyard and
I'd like that.
It's like it's nothing exciting, but they are like, I'm watching it like, okay, they're really taking the precautions here so they don't get COVID. So it's like making me believe that this is actually going to happen because they get tested every day. So then I'm like, okay, I guess I got to start researching fantasy football because I know nothing. I don't know who's on what team anymore. I don't know anything. Do you know anything? Are you ready?
Yeah, I have begun my preparations. Not very intense preparations. These are my preparations where I'm not going to regret wasting time on it if the draft doesn't happen or if the season is canceled. That's where my head is right now. Okay. We have a draft next weekend, in Friday. 7 days.
Yeah, I can't believe it.
I think it's next Saturday, but yeah. Some people are trying to change it to Labor Day weekend, and I don't think it's going to change. I think it's next weekend.
It had to be a unanimous vote inside inside the league. I gave up. I stopped being commissioner.
Yeah,
I'm not even in it anymore. Like I don't even care what happens. Like send me a date. If I can't show up, guess what? I'm not there.
You don't vote in the Survey Monkeys?
No, I do. I do vote in the Survey Monkeys.
Yeah, that date's not going to happen. But yeah, I've started my preparation. I have a J Dawg takes on later dealing with fantasy football and some preparation. Well, I just don't want to invest too much time in something that may not happen or may not work out.
No, I agree. But I do have some Bullshit or Believe NFL edition if you want to.
Let's play it.
Okay. Bullshit or Believe time. Bullshit or Believe time. Bullshit or Believe. All right, Jeremy. This. I told you I got excited this week, so I started making NFL edition Bullshit or Believe. I wanted to see Bullshit or Believe. Who is your comeback player of the year? Bullshit or Believe. I have a list of some players that might be comeback players. Who knows?
Okay.
We can start with Flacco. Bullshit or Believe, comeback player of the year. Will he bounce back? I imagine still he's a Denver Broncos still.
Well, I was gonna say if I don't know what team he's on, he's probably not gonna bounce back. Is he still a Bronco? Drew Lock is there. Why would is Flacco still there?
Do we have to look this up?
Yeah. In the meantime, I'll say no, and you can move on. Not Joe Flacco.
Okay. Alex Smith, comeback player of the year.
Great story that Alex Smith is back. Joe Flacco's on the Jets.
No, he's not. Is he really?
Yes, he is. Yes.
Oh, no.
I thought he left the Broncos. He's 35. No, they have Sam Darnold. No.
He's on the Jets? What is happening? Why do the Jets always take like these old players like Brett Favre, Joe Flacco? It's like, all right, whatever. We'll just take them.
There's nothing left there. Alex Smith, great story. Amazing comeback. Amazing that he came back from that gruesome injury. And when I say gruesome, it was awful and disturbing. Did you see the video where his kids were popping champagne in the street and he was kind of like dodging them as he walked outside? He still had a full brace on. He wasn't dodging his 8-year-old very well.
Yeah.
I don't think he should be playing, and I don't think he's going to play enough to win any awards.
If he even gets on the field, I think you call him like the comeback player, like a pity vote, kind of like, like this guy did it. Like he came back, like his leg, he almost lost his leg and he came back. It's like, all right, like sympathy vote. Like, here we go.
If he makes the roster, maybe he just wins it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know. Dwayne Haskins isn't the best Washington.
I can't imagine Alex Smith like playing ball and dropping back. I think we'll all cringe when he drops back to pass.
I can't either. But here's another player I can't even believe is coming back. Big Ben.
Potential comeback player of the year. So that's a good one. He had off-season shoulder surgery. This is a big deal for an old fat man, and that's what Ben is. And he's out of shape, and he hasn't had arm strength for a while. So he's going to come back without his weapons. Bell is gone. Brown is gone.
It's not good.
If he has a decent season, if the Steelers make the playoffs, Big Lou, shout out to you. Yes, Big Ben could be the comeback player there. He could be MVP. Do we see that happening? No, the Ravens are a juggernaut in that division. They've taken over. And the Browns should be much better than they were last year.
I just don't know how a guy like that, after like he's like, oh yeah, I drank a little too much, doing all this in the offseason. Like he wasn't taking care of his body. Maybe similar to our mutual friend who also is a Steelers fan. Like maybe not taking care of his body, but always somehow manages to do it. And I imagine that like Big Ben. Like he can probably do it and compete, but he's not going to last too long because it's going to hurt his body because he's surgery off-season. What was his other surgery before this? Was it a broken leg or something the year before?
I mean, he's had a lot of surgeries lately. He's had ACL and knees in the past. I don't know, but he's unwell. I'm surprised they're rolling with him again this year.
Bullshit or believe, Cam Newton, comeback player of the year. Another guy with some off-season.
It's not a bad option. We thought the Patriots would roll with Jarrett Stidham at one point. Jarrett Stidham was in the hospital yesterday getting his leg examined. He had such a bad injury at practice. So Cam Newton, it sounds like he's going to run the Patriots team. Why did that offend you so much, the Jarrett Stidham thing?
I just like, it sounds like a joke. Like Cam Newton, who almost won a Super Bowl, went to the Super Bowl, playoff player, and then it's like this guy Jarrett Stidham is like gonna take his job. Like it doesn't even make sense. Even though I hate Cam Newton.
I mean, Belichick signed Cam Newton so late. Like he was never counting on him. He was always counting on Stidham. It sounds like it's Cam Newton's team, but they are tanking. There's like 8 players who opted out of COVID. No other team has more than like 2 or 3. So I think Belichick is master planning Trevor Lawrence, and they're gonna tank this year.
Oh, okay. I don't. That's a whole nother thing with college football. But all right, bullshit or believe. I have 2 more guys. We'll just put them together. Andy Dalton and AJ Green, comeback players of the year. Will we see AJ Green come back and play? And will AJ Green take over for Dak? Because that could definitely happen. And
you're naming players who used to be on the same team, and they're no longer on the same team. This is confusing. Andy Dalton for Dak. You know my thoughts on Dak. Dak ain't going anywhere. If he stays away from COVID, Dak's gonna have a monster year, and Andy Dalton won't see the field. AJ Green. I have a rule about AJ Green. It's called don't draft him. It's called don't draft him at all. That's my fantasy advice for him. No comeback, no drafting. Don't have a role in that. I have a bullshit or believe for you, and his name is Rob Gronkowski. And I want to share this quote with you before you answer the question.
Okay.
Bruce Arians, Bucs head coach, says about Gronk, quote, "The heat is kicking Gronk's ass pretty good right now."
Yeah.
So, 1, we know he's lost a lot of physical muscle mass. He's slimmed down. 2, he's in Tampa for the first time. The boy was training in Boston for 10 years. Is he going to be okay in Tampa?
Jeremy, that summer heat, you were out there. It's hot. And not only is it hot, it's humid. And it sometimes actually feels like you can't breathe because it is so goddamn hot.
Yeah.
I don't blame him. I think if anything, this will help him throughout the season get in better shape because this is like pushing you to your edge when you can't even do anything. We've had a heat wave out here. There's like rolling blackouts right now because it's
I know you guys like freak out over 90 degrees and you turn the electricity off.
No, it was 110 degrees in the valley, just
Your
over
mayor,
the hill.
like, we have to turn all the air conditioning off for an hour a day because it's 90 degrees. Like, it's like, I don't know. I don't get it. Anyway.
I don't get it either. Basically, California's just falling apart. People are leaving.
We got fires.
We have fires.
Great time for me to come in.
Great time for you to come. I'm not worried about Gronk at all. I believe in him. I think he'll do fine. This is his last. This is like him and Brady. One last shot. Let's go win a Super Bowl for Tampa Bay.
I think I'm bullshit on Gronk's productivity this year. I'm not seeing Gronk as a productive member of that team. I'm not saying Brady won't be. I know he's got great weapons. Why, if you have Mike Evans, and Chris Godwin,
I like how you mushed their names together.
And Godwin and Cameron Brate and all these weapons, they still have OJ Howard. I think. Why would you throw to Gronk? These are all better athletes than him. I don't think Gronk's have a big year. Maybe a couple touchdowns, not many yards. I'm in on the Bucks, out on Gronk.
Okay. I do have like a few more bullshitter beliefs, but we can go over it real quick. It's first coach fired. You can just fire off really fast because a lot of these, you don't have to say which one's going to get fired first, but like likely of getting fired because some of these, there's
Doug Marrone, Jacksonville.
Okay, yeah, there you go. He was my first one on the list.
What they got no better. They're trading their best defensive player, their pass rusher, to Baltimore just to make them better. Gardner Minshew, we can't. It was fun for a minute.
Listen, I got a few other contenders here. We got Matt Patricia, Lions. Could be a possible one to get fired.
Stafford's always good for 7-9 just to keep him around.
It's such a bad team. Adam Gase on the Jets. Like this one could be
a good option. I think the Bills and Josh Allen are ahead of the Jets and Sam Darnold, and that's going to piss off the Jets enough to fire Gase at some point.
Dan Quinn, Falcons, kind of like rough few years, losing that big Super Bowl, still there, still thinking like Matt Ryan's got it. He could be gone.
I'm out on the Falcons. I'm out on Matt Ryan. I'm out on Julio Jones. They should have fired Dan Quinn, and they didn't, so that's a mistake.
And then, our boy Bill O'Brien, one of the greatest coaches of all time to mess up every single team he's on.
You know what they should do with Bill? Maybe they fire him as head coach, but keep him as a lifetime GM. He makes the best trades. He always gets great value back, brings a lot of talent. I just keep him making trades forever.
It's so bad. All
right, I have a Scandal City for you.
Okay.
Time to dig up the dirtiest stories around the sport world in this week's Scandal City.
So this is a baseball story, but it's juicy, Mike. So baseball players are traveling and flying around the country, staying in hotels. But when they're on the road, they're supposed to be very safe and never leave their hotel room, especially not to go out or anything like that. So these two Cleveland Indian pitchers, two of the best pitchers in baseball, they went out and they did not come back for curfew. They broke their curfew. One came back at like 3 a.m. and one came back at 10 a.m. By the way, on First Take, Stephen A. Smith found out that sex was involved with one of the players. One of the players went to have sex, and he freaked out on First Take about that. So there's a funny viral clip about that. You know, the Stephen A. clips that go viral. But what I wanted to make note of is they were suspended or they were like told to go away for 2 weeks, whatever it was, to make sure all the COVID tests came back negative. They were negative. They came back to the team. They drove rental cars from like Detroit to Chicago to meet up with their team. They had all their gear with them. They show up. They walk in the clubhouse. These are two of the best pitchers in baseball. They're the two of the best players on the team. They walk in the clubhouse. Indians say, guys, you are not welcome here. Go to the minor leagues. And so right now, Indians, two of the best players, this would be like LeBron and Anthony Davis on the Lakers. Like this is the cream of the crop. They are not welcome to play for their team because they broke curfew, which is pretty cool. Like you're a guy who's COVID safe. You didn't fly to Idaho with us. You would respect the idea of these guys don't respect me. Get them out of here.
I like it. I mean, especially in this weird, like there's only they have like 60 games to play instead of 180 games. I get it. You want your team to be healthy. It's just what were they doing that was so important? Like it blows my mind when these things happen. Like this is what you thought was a good idea. We're going to stay out all night. Maybe they thought they could because they were the best on the team. But it is weird doing this now where it's like we have a curfew. And imagine if any NFL players do this, which I'm sure will happen. Somebody's going to spread some COVID around for sure.
Yeah, the sex is strong among NFL players too. But you have to respect, I mean, the Indians have a player on their team who had cancer this offseason, like someone who's very at risk. And to take a risk to go out with your friends and go slay a random and then come back and bring it into the locker room, that is bullshit. It's just a huge move to send down two of their best players.
I have a similar story about, I don't know if you heard about this one. An Instagram model went on this like radio show talking about pleasuring 7 of the Phoenix Suns players at once.
I watched that clip. Orally,
all the players. But lucky for her, this is like the good side of the story. She has an OnlyFans, which you can go sign up for if you want. Within 24 hours, she made enough money to pay all for her father's like chemotherapy for like a year. So she made enough money. Yeah,
great story.
It's like a good story.
She should pleasure more basketball players.
Then I go back to this 7 people on the team went into this room and all decided at once, this is what we should do as a team. We're gonna bond right now.
Hang on, Mike. Are you one to discount bonding with your friends in these situations?
I'm just saying these are professional athletes deciding to go into a hotel room together, and I'll say, hey, Tina's here. Let's all sit down for a minute and just have some fun.
I would guess among teams, and this might gross some people out, I would guess it's much more common than we think to do stuff like that. Like you're naked in the locker room all the time. You're traveling all the time. And if you hear of a hot hoe in Phoenix that's available, maybe you just cram into her room.
But don't you think so imagine you're LeBron or whoever. You're an NBA star. Don't you think you have anybody you want on call, like any Instagram model you could hit up? What was the special part about this girl that's just like, oh yeah, guys, what's up? Like, let's do this. Like, it doesn't, I don't know. It just doesn't make sense. Like, what was the scenario that imagine there was me, you, and 5 other guys. We all just walk into a room. It's like, hey, this is a good idea. Let's all do this right now. It's like, it's like 2:00 in the afternoon.
I mean, we've been hammered and we've never had that idea before. No. I mean, not all of us. I know on a smaller scale, some people have, but not all of us.
It doesn't make sense, but good for her. She made a ton of money on her OnlyFans. I don't know what it is, but I'm sure you can look it up. I'm sure.
My favorite part was her friend in that video that folks can go look up. Her friend kept saying how shy she was as she was admitting to giving oral sex to 7 guys at once. Imagine how much else she had to say if her friend is saying she's shy. Yeah. Like, what else did you have in there that you could have shared?
Great story, really though. I love the clip. The clip was like, she was kind of awkward about it. Like, oh yeah, I hooked up with this guy. And then like, oh, and also the 7 other guys on the team. That's like half the team, right? How many players are in a full
there's 15.
Squad?
It's literally half. She hooked up with half the team. I have another scandal here. In the past, we've broken stories about Peyton Manning's scandalous life. Well, this is another one. And he says, this is from a new report. It says that in 2013, Peyton Manning conducted walkthroughs in the middle of a forest in New England before playing the Patriots because he was scared that Belichick would find them and shoot video of their walkthrough. Quote, we went out and got on the buses and pulled up to the forest, got out of the buses and walked for about 5 minutes. And then we get in the middle of this forest, and that's where Peyton had us do the walkthrough.
So he's paranoid.
As he should be, right?
Yeah, but I mean, I feel like a video guy, like, you should be able to know that there's somebody there. And this sounds, he was so scared of him. He was in his head. Basically, Bill already won. That Peyton was going out there. Bill won.
Bill's living in Peyton's head, and Bill did. I mean, Brady beat Manning more than Manning beat Brady, so I think that answers it.
But I think the problem was it was always Brady and Belichick, and then Peyton and a coach. And I don't think Peyton was like trying to be the coach and the player at the same time, and Brady had the benefit of having a coach to figure out all these schemes that this player could execute, and Peyton never had that. Peyton had to do that at the line. This is, audible in all the time, doing all that stuff. So I think that's why. That's why he was so scared about him.
Very scared.
You got a J Dawg takes on?
Let's do it.
Oh, gotta find it. There it is.
J Dawg takes on.
Mike, before the summer is over, I want to tell folks to go out and check out Coeur d'Alene Golf Resort. There's a floating island green. Mike, you remember, you hit it, right?
Yeah,
we all hit it when we were there. It was super fun golf course. I recommend it. They take great care of you. It's a destination, beautiful, hilly lake, Get the full experience. They have caddies. It's a super fun time. Check it out. It's in Idaho. It's remote. It's COVID safe. It's Coeur d'Alene. Check it out. That's who is sponsoring today's J Dawg Takes On. I mentioned I started my fantasy football. Bless you. My fantasy football advice and my my drafting. And I just wanted to take on. This is just a little preview of it. I'm taking on because my friend had a draft this weekend and he drafted Leonard Fournette.
He's still in the Jags, right?
He is. J Dawg is taking on anyone who drafts Leonard Fournette. Just don't do it. No matter where you are, it's not going to be good value. He's not going to be worth it to your team. He might have a good week 1, 2, 3. He normally does. He normally has 100 rushing yards. He might have a couple touchdowns. He might suck you in. Then you're going to start playing him week after week, and he's going to be terrible. Don't draft Leonard Fournette. Don't play Leonard Fournette, and laugh at your friend on draft day who does draft Leonard Fournette because he'll be drafted in every league, no doubt. And you will have the upper hand because your team, no matter how good or bad it is, will not have Leonard Fournette on it.
And the problem is when you're doing now a snake draft, totally different. Like maybe like at the end of the draft, like I'll take a flyer on him.
No,
but when you have don't even do that. But
never.
When you're bidding,
I'm taking you on if you take him.
If Leonard Fournette is $5, I might take him.
Don't take him. He's a waste of space. He's a fat man. He's Ben Roethlisberger at running back.
I know.
We can do better.
So okay, good. So we'll continue this next week. You tell everybody who not the draft before all the drafts happen.
We have a draft coming up very soon.
We do have a draft. I need a lot of help.
Do you have any good keepers in that league? That's our keeper league, at least. So honestly, it's not a full draft.
Haven't looked at anything. Somebody just offered me who offered me Juju the other day. I think he was going around shopping Juju.
Oh, that's weird. I haven't even logged into my team page. I didn't know we were getting trade offers.
I have no idea who's on my team. I know I drafted terribly last year. I had Antonio Brown. Some other people that didn't play and got suspended. So
yeah, that sounds like most years.
It was a great year. I have some food news if you want to do some food news. God, I can't find anything lately.
Here's what I found. Here's some news for food news.
Before you give your food news, I just want to mention that I had Chick-fil-A for lunch today, and I ordered 12 nuggets, Mike, and they gave me 16. And the idea of 16 nuggets and planning on 12, it made my day. It'll probably make my weekend, and I'm just super fortunate about it.
That's how depressing times are right now. A few extra nuggets just go a long way.
Long way.
I'm kind of excited about this. I have lately dabbled into some oat milk. Really loving some oat milk lattes. I just want to let you know Dunkin' is rolling out oat milk at locations across America, not all locations, but oat milk, very delicious. I was like, oh, whatever. I don't want oat milk. I just want real milk. I had some oat milk lattes lately. Delicious. I recommend going trying an oat milk latte. So good.
So as you know, I'm not always a trendsetter.
Sure.
I was a little bit late on almond milk, more in the last year or so, being okay with it.
Yeah.
Should I pivot to oat milk from almond milk?
I think you might like it. I mean, you're a slow adapter, right? You like, oh, I shouldn't be eating sugar. You're kind of like Dwight, like all of a sudden, like, oh, you know what? It's probably bad that I eat handfuls of Skittles.
I haven't admitted that yet.
Okay. Well, yeah, I would say I like almond milk, but lately I've been doing macadamia milk. Milkadamia is really good, or oat milk. Yes, so good. Those like varieties of different nuts or milk. Just find yours.
You're like, that's like ahead. Like I'm behind and you're ahead.
Yeah. I mean, we're in LA. A lot of things are ahead out here. My local grocery store literally only carries alternative milks. Yeah. So
no more dairy. Choice. I've been on the no dairy train. You can admit that. I've been ahead of that one.
That's good. Good. No dairy train.
You eat cheese.
Yeah, I eat a lot of cheese on my eggs. In the morning. But oat milk, come in the Dunkin'. That's all I got. And then I have one last thing, Jeremy, just to excite you for coming to California. Last week they announced that we have the first case of the plague out here in California.
I'm excited. I'm glad it happened before I got there, or else we would have wondered if I had brought it. So it's good that I won't be accused of that.
Can I just tell you, when I've been, there's not a lot of TV on right now. There's like, you watch sports, but also I tune into a lot of news because there's it's political season, things are happening. When they talk about California and LA, it makes it seem like we're in a dystopian era where homeless have taken over the streets and we go around driving in cars with our oat milk lattes and, avoid them. It's not that bad, but it definitely on TV when you're watching CNN and they show Skid Row and all the homeless taking over, it seems really bad and people talk about it being that bad. Yeah. It's not that bad, but just when you watch it on TV, it's blown out of proportion. not to say that the fires are blown out of proportion, but sometimes they like zoom in, like, look at this fire, it's coming. And it is bad, but it's not like engulfing a city. It's engulfing this one area of a town that's in a fire zone. But
so you're saying the media blows stuff out of proportion. I'm shocked to hear this.
I am saying that. Because I get like calls and text messages like, hey, are you guys safe out there? Are you guys okay? Like,
it's never that bad.
Yeah, we're okay. We don't, there's not that many homeless crazy.
Well, that's why I'm joining your squad. I'm joining the California squad. I'm going to do a week in El Segundo, a little quarantine. I don't want to see you that week. I want you to stay away just in case I bring it out there. But once it's clear, we're going to find a nice place to shack up and do some shows. We're going to do some content, some fresh Popline content. We got some ideas churning. And we always work our best in person, right?
Always. Our last show in person was in Tulum, Mexico.
That was before the world changed and our depression started.
Yeah. It's been.
Yeah, it was pre-depression.
Yeah. Well, good show, Jeremy. Everybody go check out popline.co. All the content's up there. We have a lot of random articles up there. Actually, Andrew from What the Puck just did a whole podcast about the Seattle Kraken. NHL playoffs are going on right now. Seattle Kraken, the new hockey team in the NHL. I'm really excited for them next year. Great logo. They took a fake character and made it their team name. It's like right out of a video game. I love it a lot. Good article, good podcast. But go check it out, popline.co. Follow us on Instagram at popline.co. And if you want to go rest some most reviews, hopefully we are back next week.